Today is review day today, okay? So, let's see, what's today? 4:30. Oh, it's Landon's birthday. So, okay. I am recording, you guys, and you are on film. So, question number 1. Given triangle CAT, find all missing sides and angles. So, first of all, this is definitely a right triangle. Because it's a right triangle, we can use the sine, cosine, and tangent, which is the blue cards up on the board, okay? So if I take a look at this, always go to the angle first, start with the angle, okay? Use your given side, and then just decide a side to solve for. It doesn't really matter. I can either find little c or little a. It doesn't matter to me. How about little c, okay? So from the angle, the names of opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse all come from the angle. Well, I picked the 36-degree angle, so the 10 is my opposite. The C is always going to be my hypotenuse because it's opposite the 90. Okay? So if I take a look at the names, what I'm going to have to use is opposite hypotenuse. I look up at the board, I look up at the blue cards. I'm going to use sine. So I'm going to go sine of theta, but theta really is a symbol for the angle, so I'm not going to write theta, I'm going to write 36. Equals opposite, which is 10, over the hypotenuse, which is c. Okay, now you can't really divide by c, so you multiply up the c, and then you would divide by the tan of 36. So if I multiply with a c up here, comes up here, we get c times the sine of 36 equals 10, but I really need to solve for c, okay? And then I realize that sine of 36 is a number, just a number in my calculator, so I'm just going to divide by the sine of c of 36 on both sides, divided by sine of 36, and I'm just going to use my calculator to do it, right? So am I going too fast?
Yes.
Okay. Use my calculator. 10 divided by sine of 36, and I get about 17. Okay, so little c is about 17 centimeters. Okay. Now the rest is easy. The rest is easy. Once we've used the sine, the rest is easy because we know how to find angle A. These two angles are complementary, geometry term. So I'm going to find angle A. I'm just going to go angle A is just simply equal to 90 minus my 36, which is 54 degrees. Okay, 54. And then I can use Pythagoras Theorem to find little a, or you could use cosine, doesn't really matter. I'll use Pythagoras Theorem because that'll probably be the easiest for you. So I'll go, okay, I'll go little a squared plus 10 squared equals 17 squared. So I'm just going to find little a squared by...
Can you move the paper?
Oh, I sure can, Tammy. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to find little a squared by Pythagoras Theorem, right? A squared plus 10 squared equals 17 squared. A squared is equal to 17 squared. Subtract 10 squared. I'm just going to use my calculator. 17 squared minus 10 squared. And I got little a squared is equal to 189, but then we're going to take the square root of that, right? Take the square root of that, right? Use my calculator. Square root of 189 is going to be about 13.7. Okay, got them all.
13%?
Yeah. No. It's Monday. I'm dyslexic this morning. There we go.
Wait.
Yeah. I'll wait.
Tired.
What map? Wait. Did you do the...
Pythagoras Theorem here.
Oh, okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
And you can use cosine. Did you use cosine?
Wait, I don't know.
You might have.
You could have also used sine.
Yeah, you could also use sine
I got the answer.
from the other angle.
I,
Yeah, you could also use tangent also once you get everything right. You can. Right.
I'm super confused.
Did you get...
How many?
There are 4 different ways to find it.
Dang.
I just used the easiest Pythagoras Theorem, right? So I didn't confuse kids. Okay, number 2. Okay, so first of all, you have, Anlin, you watching?
Yeah.
So you do have a pair of opposites. So if you have a pair of opposites, right? If you have a pair of opposites, you're going to use the law of sines. Okay, pair of opposites, use the law of sines. Okay, so I have opposites, right? Because I have opposites, I'm going to use the law of sines. Well, I have opposite, opposite, but I could go opposites, opposites here. So I could find angle P because of opposites, opposites. Now, Sometimes kids are like, well, what do you write first? I always write what I want to find first. I always write the unknown first. So I'm going to write P, but you don't write P, you write sine of P. It's the law of sines, right? So I'm going to go straight to writing sine of P over 10 equals sine of 65 over 13. So the law of sines say sine of an angle over its opposite side equals sine of an angle over its opposite side. And there's many ways to write this, AV, because you could write it upside down as well. It's the same formula, but I like to write what I don't know first. It makes it easier for me, okay? So then I'm going to take the 10 and multiply it up, right? I'm just going to cross multiply the 10 up. Of sine of P equals 10, sine of 65 over 13, right? And I'm just going to use my calculator. We'll get a decimal. I'm anticipating a decimal because I'll have to do the sine inverse of that. But I'll go ahead and go 10 sine 65 divided by 13. I do get a decimal because I'm going to do the sine inverse of that, right? So I'm going to go sine inverse of that answer, and I get about 44.2. So I went sine inverse of that answer, and I get angle P is about 44.2 degrees. Okay? Thumbs up. Okay? Law of sines is probably the easiest, just opposites. Okay? Now, once I get the 44.2, I'm going to put it in my triangle because it's going to actually help me out. 44.2 is there, okay? All right, now, I know in a triangle there's 180 degrees, right? So I'm just going to find angle I. Let's get the easy. So angle I is just simply going to be 180 minus the sum of 44.2 and 65, right? So I'm just going to use my calculator, add them up, subtract from 180, right? In a triangle, add them up, 180 minus 44.2 plus 65, and I get an answer about 70.8 degrees. And again, once I get that answer, I'm going to put that inside my triangle too because that'll help me out. So my 70.8 there. Okay, now I've got to find my other opposite. I've got to find my other opposite. I've got to find little I. Okay, little I is, this is angle I. That's little I, right? So I got to find my other opposite. So again, if I have opposites, I'm going to use my law of sine. So let's see. Here's opposites and opposites, right? Opposites. So let's set it up. Write down what you want to find first. Write down the unknown first. I'm going to write little I. I don't know little I, so I'm going to write it down. I'm going to say, okay, little I. I'll grab the other pen. Little I over the sine of, let's see, here's little I, sine of 70.8, right? Equals 10. Nope, let's use the 13. It's more accurate. 13 over the sine of 65. So, again, I write down what I don't know first. Side over the sine of its opposite angle equals side over the sine of its opposite angle. Side over the sine of its opposite angle equals side over the sine of its opposite angle. And then I'm just going to multiply this entire sine of 70.8 right up there. And I'll have a little I is equal to 13 times the sine of 70.8 divided by sine of 65. And I'm just going to let my calculator do the work, right? So I'm just going to put that calculator there. I'm going to go 13 sine of 70.8 divided by sine of 65. And I get an answer of about 1.2. Oh, that's because I didn't type it in right. Let's try it again. 13 sine 70.8 divided by sine 65. There we go. 13.54. 13.5 will work for me, okay? How's that? So about 13.5, okay? How's that?
That makes sense, Mr. Davies, but the way you put it in your calculator, like, I'm confused. You didn't do parentheses around all of it.
You don't need to, but what you do need to do, you're really good question. You don't need to because it's an implied time. Does that make sense?
Oh.
But I had to have it there.
Because it was a sign. Because if we done that with those other numbers, that would have worked.
Right. Totally right. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, boys, stop bothering each other. David, stop bothering. Okay. Number 3. So, do you have a pair of opposites? No. There's no opposites, are there? Right? But what you have is side angle side. law of cosines, okay? Side angle side. We're going to have to use the law of cosine. So I got side angle side. I'm going to use the law of cosine. So I'm going to set it up. It's going to be, so x is my opposite, okay? 11 and 6 are my adjacents to my angle that I know, right? So the formula says, it's in your note, it says opposite squared is equal to adjacent squared plus adjacent squared minus 2 times adjacent times adjacent times the cosine of the angle. Okay, so I'm going to set that up.
What is the formula that we were talking about?
It's in my notes. I'll show it to you. Let's see, where's my notes? Here we go. And hopefully it's in your notes, right? If not, you can borrow my notes. I don't care. Okay, here it is. It's opposite squared equals adjacent squared plus adjacent squared minus 2 times adjacent times adjacent times the cosine of the angle, okay? So I'm going to go little x squared equals 6 squared plus 11 squared minus 2 times 6 times 11 times the cosine of 95 degrees. And again, I'm just going to use my calculator to do it. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in there. Let's see, you can see that. Can you see the calculator? Barely, but we'll put it in there. 6 squared. Let's see, I put it right there. Can you see it there? Hold on. So you see it. You can see it there. 6 squared plus 11 squared minus 2 times 6 times 11 times the cosine of 95 degrees. And of course I get 168, but that's too much, but because this is x squared, right? I mean, that's x squared equals 168.5, so we're going to square root to get the value of x, and square root my answer, and I get an answer about 13, 12.98. Let's round it to 13, okay? So put 13 in our picture. Okay, now, we have a pair of opposites. So I like the law of sines because it's easier. And once I get my opposite, I just go straight for the law of sines, right? So much easier. So at this point, it does not matter. You can find angle y or angle z. Bailey, what do you like? Angle z or angle y? It does not matter. Z it is. So if we pick angle z, right, then let's see what we got for opposite. Angle z, and we've got the 11, right, is its other opposite. So I like to write down what I don't know first. I don't know z. I don't know z, so I'm going to go, okay, sine of z over its opposite side equals sine of 95 over 13, okay? Or I could have done the other, right? So cross multiply, right? Cross multiply. I'm going to bring the 11 up here. So then I'll have my sine of z equals 11 times my sine of 95 over 13. I'm just going to use my calculator. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to go 11 sine 95 divided by 13. And I am going to get a decimal. I kind of figured that because I knew I was going to have to sine inverse that, right? Sine inverse my answer. Okay. Sine inverse my answer. And I get about 57.5. Okay. I'm going to circle that and put that back in my triangle, okay? Okay, I'm getting close, okay? Because then angle y is easy. You guys agree? To get angle y, well, let's go, okay, 180 degrees in a triangle, right? So angle y is equal to 180 minus my 57.5 plus my 95. Add them up, subtract from 180, right? We know how to do that, right? So clear 180 minus parentheses, 57.5 plus my 95, and I got about 27.5. Okay, how's that? Okay. Thumbs up? Yep. Okay, now, what we have in 4 is side, side, side. So I go to my notes, right? Okay. And this is for you, girl. This is for you. Side, side, side. What do we use? Law of cosines, right? See how that works, 80? And you can borrow my notes if you want to, okay? So I'm going to go adjacent squared plus adjacent squared minus opposite squared over 2 times adjacent times adjacent, okay? So we're going to put that down, so I'm going to go ahead and set it up. So first of all, just let's find angle G. I always go for the biggest angle, angle G. So I'm going to go cosine of angle G equals parentheses. These are my 2 adjacent sides, right? That's my 17 is my opposite, so we'll go 11 squared plus 15 squared minus 17 squared all over parentheses 2 times 11 times 15. Okay? Okay. Don't forget your parentheses. So very important in your calculator of the parentheses because you want the entire top to be divided by the entire bottom, right? So you gotta have your parentheses. If you don't, you're gonna mess up. So I'm just gonna put that in there. I'm just gonna go parentheses. Let's see that. Let's see. 11 squared plus 15 squared minus 17 squared parentheses divided by parentheses 2 times 11 times 15. Okay. I get a decimal. Kind of thought so because I'm looking for an angle, right? So I cosine inverse that. Cosine inverse that answer, and I get about 80 degrees. So I went cosine inverse of my answer, and I got about 80 degrees. Okay, good. I'm going to put that in my picture. Okay, 80 degrees. Got it. So if I see my picture, it helps. Now, law of cosine is pretty long, but if I have my opposites, let's use law of sines, right? If I have my opposites, law of sines. So once I establish a pair of opposites, I like the law of sines. It's easy, okay? So, all right. Let's see, Stephanie. Angle D or angle I? Doesn't matter. I it is. Let's find angle I. So we've got our opposites, right? We'll go I with the 11, right? So we'll set up sine of I over 11 equals sine of 80 over 17, right? Set of opposites. Write down what you don't know first. Angle I, sine of I over 11, sine of 80 over 17. Cross, multiply the 11 up here, and then I'll have to sine inverse that. I will have to sine inverse whatever that is, sine inverse that answer. So let me go ahead and put that in my calculator so you can see it. So I'm just going to go, because I multiply the 11 up, so I'm just going to go 11 times the sine of 80, close parentheses, divided by 17, and I get a decimal because I thought I'd get a decimal because I'm looking for the angle, right? So then I sine inverse that answer, and I get about 39.6 degrees, okay? 39.6 degrees is angle I. Okay, now it gets easy. Okay, it really does. So I got 39.6 degrees, and then find angle D. Add them up, subtract from 180, right? So angle D is equal to 180 minus parentheses 80 plus 39.6, and we're just going to go Bailey, put your phone away, please. You go put your phone away, girl, because I know you are just watching and learning and getting your notes all ready for tomorrow. So I get an answer about 60.4 for angle D. Okay, now there's one more thing we've got to do on this one, and that's find the area. Now, Claire, there are 2 ways to find area. You could use Heron's formula. I'm not, because I think it's easier just to use the... In fact, we've got the area formula up here, right? Area formula right here. So that's the one I'm going to use. Or you could use Heron's formula. I'm just going to go area is equal to... I may as well use the 80. That, and that. I'll go 1/2 11 times 15 times the sine of 80. I think that's easier than Heron's formula. Heron's formula will work. Heron's formula, that big square root thing. Remember that big square root thingy? If you don't remember, that's okay. I'm just going to use that one. It's easier. You agree? Much easier. So let's go 0.5 times 11 times 15 times the sine of 80. And I can ask about 81.2. Area, 81.2 centimeters squared. 2 thumbs up?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, now, are you ready for the hard one? Okay, we're going to do the hard one. Now I'm going to do the hard one. I'm going to do the hard one on a separate sheet of paper because you're going to need it. So if you need a separate sheet of paper, if you need a blank sheet of paper, hopefully my good friend Morelli will pass out paper to you because she's awesome. Thank you. You're my friend, aren't you my friend? All right, it's on camera. It's on film. I am not Morelli's friend. Okay? All right. So, here's the hard one. Angle A. Okay? And I'm going to draw angle A, so I'm just going to start here. Right? Protractor, right? Protractor. Okay. 45 degrees. Okay. Angle A, 45, right? Wow. Come on, girl, I'm waiting on you. Come on, girl, that's not my friend. Go sit down. Okay, now, this is going to be 6. It's going to be 8.5. 8.5. 45. How do I know it's 45? Because it says so right there, right? Right, Natalie? Right, 45, right? And I drew B, 8.5. This is B, 8.5. Okay, so 8.5, right? Right? 45 degrees, right? Now we're going to be graded on drawing this, so you got to draw this to scale, okay? Now you need the 6.5 for little a, and it's going to touch in 2 different places, okay? 6.5 can be here, and that is one triangle. The A is 6.5. So that's the triangle I have. So this is A, B, C, okay? So I've constructed the first triangle, okay? Let's just solve the first triangle, and we'll come back and find the second triangle, okay? Give you a moment to catch up and get this drawn, okay?
Thank you.
And I don't need all this extra, do I? I can erase the extra if I wanted to, or I can just leave it there. If it bothers you, erase it. If it doesn't bother you, don't erase it, okay? Okay, there you go. How am I doing? I'm pretty good. Starting to plan my summer trip. Yeah.
Where?
We're going to try and get down to Yosemite,
Where is that?
California.
Oh.
And then we're going to come back up the Oregon coast.
We did that some years ago.
It's a cool trip, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. Okay, so you guys ready? I have a pair of opposites, don't I? Right? So I could find angle B with a pair of opposites, right? So let's go ahead and find angle B. We'll go sine of B over 8.5 equals sine of 45 over 6.5, right? We have our opposites, so we set up our law signs. We're going to cross multiply. We're going to bring the 8.5 up here. So I'm going to have my sine of B equals 8.5 times the sine of 45 divided by 6.5. And I know I'm going to get a decimal because I'm going to have to sine inverse it, right? I will have to sine inverse that answer. I know I will. So I'm going to use my calculator while you guys are writing the steps down, right? You good on what I've done? Okay, I'm just going to use my calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and go clear. Let's go 8.5 sine of 45 divided by 6.5. Sure enough, I get a decimal, right? Kind of thought so. Sine inverse that answer. And I get an answer about 67.6. So angle B is going to be 67.6 degrees, right? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and find angle C. That's easy, right? So angle C, 180, right? 180 minus my 45 plus my 67.6, right? And, you know, use my calculator. 180. Whoops, 180 minus 45 plus 67.6. 67.4. Angle C is about 67.4. So again, I'll put that up in my triangle so I can see it, 67.4, right? And then finally, I've got to find little c, which is side C right here. So side C. Now the thing about side C is it has an opposite, right? If we've got opposites, let's just use our opposites, right? So I'm going to go little c over the sine of 67.4. Opposites, remember opposites, and equals to a 6.5 over the sine of 45, right? I like the law of sines. It's easy, huh? Again, we'll cross multiply this up here, and we'll use our calculator. Just gonna go, okay, clear. I can go 6.5 times sine of 67.4 divided by sine of 45, and I get an answer about 8.5, okay? About 8.5. Now, what makes this problem so hard? There's two triangles. Yeah, it's the donkey triangle, okay? So there is a second triangle. So let's find it. So the second triangle could have been drawn like this. See the 6.5? If you look at this, 6.5, see 6.5 could have also been drawn there, right? Right? So there is a possibility of two triangles, okay? So we've got to find the other one, okay? So if we've got two possible triangles, angle B is no longer here. See, there is a second triangle that could be drawn. Now you want me to show you it again? Okay, so when I do this 6.5 here, I could have drawn the 6.5 here. It's a donkey triangle. You guys agree? So there's two triangles that are there. Angle B for the other triangle is all the way over here. Angle B is now, and angle B is this obtuse angle, right? But to get angle B is pretty easy. I know that these two angles here have to be the same. So this 67.6 is also here, 67.6. So angle B will subtract from 180, right? So to get the other angle B on the obtuse triangle, the little one, so the other triangle, to get angle B, we're just going to go 180 degrees minus 67.6, right? Just use my calculator. 180 minus my 67.6, and I get 112. Angle B is about 112.4 degrees. Okay, so I know that one. I can go ahead and put that in. 112.4, okay? How am I doing? Okay, now the big triangle's not there anymore, so this is no longer 67.4, is it, right? It's much smaller, right? It's much smaller. And out of 180 degrees, we'll just go, all right, I can find that now, but it's going to be a different angle. So I'll take my 180. So for angle C, we'll go 180 minus my 45 plus my 112.4. I'll use my calculator. 45 plus my 112.4, and I get an angle of about 22.6 degrees. Okay, so that's now a 22.6 degree angle. Okay, now little c is also different. Little c doesn't go all the way across. Little c doesn't go all the way across, does it? No, it's just that little bit right there. So let's find little c. And we'll use the same formula down here, except for the numbers are different. We'll use the same formula, but the numbers are different, okay?